Hey guys, welcome to 10 Months of Tea. So I didn't do very much posting this month. I apologize for that. This was my birthday and my mom's birthday. Our birthdays are 9 days apart. Our birthdays, we usually would spend the 9 days in between our birthdays, like spending time together. So I spent the month kind of just like depressed, I guess, and I did end up filming like my orange video pretty quick after like this month started, but editing it I have not gotten around to. So I apologize about that. I do have my next video for Buddhist sorcery in the making. And then I also did a cooking video too, so I got my work cut out for me right now. I figured I would start with like editing this one, even though this is the most recent and those ones are older. But this one I feel is more important to have consistency with. The other two are just kind of like sporadic. But for this month, honestly, I hadn't been paying attention to too much changes after like the first week and then my birthday hit, so there's that, unfortunately, but I do have like some notes that I was taking during the first week when I was able to like pay attention to kind of what was going on more. So my eyebrows are a little bit more thicker. They're not like as thin or like not even noticeable that they're there. Um, I do have a unibrow and it is growing in a little bit different than normal, so there's that. During this month, I only shaved once still, but it was getting relatively long. Right now, I still got like kind of peach fuzzy stubble, um, but I did like a full, like all my cheek, my chin, a little bit under my neck, and then of course my upper lip. My upper lip is what grows in the thickest, and I've noticed that some of the peach fuzzy hair that is thicker up here has gotten a little bit more like color changes starting to come in a little bit, so mustache is starting to get there. Um, Facial hair is something that takes probably the longest out of everything to develop, unfortunately. Um, and then for like staying on the hair topic, my legs are more hairy for sure. Um, it's a little bit more dense down in this area right now than so much up above. But I've always had hairy legs. It's just darkening basically. This side is a little bit more hairier than this. Don't mind that. I was walking through my woods and yeah, I was like, hey, dead tree, let me knock this over. And the dead tree took a chunk out of my leg while I was like knocking it over. So yeah, I'm smart. But it was fun. I still had fun. Um, I also wanted to clarify for people because of the fact that like I'm gender fluid. Off the bat, when I meet people, I just want to be he, him. I don't really automatically address my gender fluidity with people I just meet, so I usually am just like, yeah, I'm trans. I'm a guy. I'm a dude. Um, but I'm also like gender fluid only between non-binary and masculine. I do experience the female pronoun want sometimes, but that one's really rare. And as I like progress going through my changes with tea, I experience wanting to be female less and less. So that was kind of also something else I wanted to touch on as well. Like as I'm watching myself change and stuff, and then I'm thinking about like if I lose the ability to be on T, I'm not gonna be happy. Like I'm not gonna feel like myself, and I'm probably gonna go through a whole mental breakdown kind of system. Because of the fact that I never want to be a female ever again. Like I don't want to experience any of the feminine anything. And I did not enjoy being female. I do see like a little bit more of like female empowerment stuff online, versus like before. But I also had somebody ask me a question that I wanted to write down and also say to you guys is it's kind of like a weird one. Am I trans because of the way the political system is? And my answer is no, but I mean, kind of starting into the process, definitely like seeing all the bullshit going on with just like females in general and what they have to deal with, and like the discrimination and the lack of being able to have like abortions, or if you get pregnant and then you have a fetus inside of you dead, if you remove it you get arrested. Like, that's not cool. Like, it's not their fault the fetus died inside of them, and if it doesn't get removed then they're in potential risk of dying as well. So it's like, abortions are important, guys. You want to risk somebody's life just because you don't want to remove a dead fetus out of somebody? Like, that doesn't sit well with me. Like, that's basically just sentencing somebody to death. It's like, okay, you had sex. Okay, great, your fetus died. Okay, well, it's your turn to die now too. It's like, what? Who the hell is ever going to want to have sex again if they do that? They're going to make reproductive systems like go down and decline because of this. Like, they're going to watch their population decrease. And it's not because people are getting abortions, it's because people don't want to have sex because of the fact that if they get pregnant and then a fetus dies in them, they're now going to die. Like, there is a reason things exist, and there is an importance to them. And especially, like, if you think about, like, a young teenage girl or something just got their period, say they get raped, God forbid, now they can't get an abortion. They have to raise this child and be reminded daily about some traumatic situation that they fucking had to go through. Like, it's not okay. I get that some people are pro-life, but if you're going to be so much as pro-life, why don't you like support the person that's already here and existing, not the thing that's potentially growing inside of somebody else, and it's not even their fault that it's there, like possibly 50% of the time. And even if it is their fault that it's there, maybe they didn't want it, maybe it's a mistake, maybe they can't afford it. And if you are pro-life, now you have this new child in the world, they don't want to keep it, now it goes into the foster system. The foster system is so incredibly fucked up. Like, you're literally going to permanently traumatize this child that didn't even ask to be alive to begin with. And then when they grow up and they had the chance to sit there and know, could I have not been alive, or was my only option to come into this world and go into the foster system? Like, that's not fair. They have no ability to speak up for themselves. And I know a majority of people, me included, if I had to stay in the foster care system, I would have killed myself. Like, I don't know how many people like actually would have stayed, how they have gotten to stay in it and get through that. Like, I would have killed myself once I reached my teens if I stayed in the foster care system. No, thank you. Like, it sucks, and it's not okay, and it's not for the people either, and it's not for the kids either. Most of the people that adopt people that are in the foster care system usually are only in it for the paycheck, and the majority of them will give none of it to the kid. Maybe they'll get them like some fruit snacks or something that can get them through the week, but like, that's about it. They don't really care. Some of the times, they also treat them like slaves, or they continue their sexual abuse in these places. Like, it's not investigated or supported. Like, this is not okay, guys. Like, you can't just bring people into this world and expect them to be okay. If the parent that is having them cannot provide care and like support them, do not subject somebody into a system that is so incredibly fucked up and not monitored or taken care of at all. Like, it's not safe, it's not good. You're going to not only, if these people are raised improperly enough, they're going to grow up to be serial killers. They're going to grow up to be rapists themselves. They're going to grow up and be mentally disabled. So that's not okay. This is my strong opinion on this, and I've looked at what happens and stuff, and in majority of the time, it's not good. Abortions are there for the health of the people. So that's my opinion. You can disagree with me. That's your own opinion, though. This is my opinion. I see what's going on. I do not support it. I know how fucked up things are, and I know how fucked up things could be for people. So that's just my standpoint on that. And yes, I went off on a tangent a little bit. So it started from the question, am I trans because of the political system? No, I am not. And I've always been trans. My experiences in my life have been more traumatic because I am in the wrong body and people see me not for who I am. So I get sexualized by the average guy that walks by because he's a cisgender man and he sees, oh, boobs and tits, or like boobs and ass, or like hourglass body or some shit like that. And then he subjects me to the stereotypical enjoyment of being sexualized. Oh, maybe he wants to like have a dick in him or something, and oh, girls like it when they're treated like shit, and you can manipulate them into a relationship kind of thing. Like, this is like the stereotype that I normally deal with. I don't like that. And it's more traumatizing because I am not a female. And so when I have people approach me, and like this used to be a huge problem for me because I would automatically see a guy, whether he's like gay, straight, bi, or whatever, and I would expect him to instantly be sexualizing me because of the way I look. And that was traumatizing for me. Like, I am so deathly afraid of men when they view me as female. Like, I don't want anything to do with them. I am not comfortable with that. And, like, because I'm trans, it's more traumatic. If I wasn't trans, it would still be slightly traumatic, but maybe not quite to the extent it is for me. When people sexualize other people right off the bat, that is not okay. And I don't think that's a healthy environment for anybody. And this has been something that I've had to work through mentally a lot on my own and without a therapist, because each time I get a therapist, it doesn't go in the direction I wanted to. So I'm working with myself on my own through what I know I need to work through. And I'm doing what I can. And I still get triggered when I realize that people are looking at me and they start using the wrong pronouns. So that is my trigger still, and I'm working through that. It is difficult for sure, but it's a process. And as I progress more and more toward looking like the way I feel on the inside, a guy, I feel less and less anxious and less sexualized and less like I need to run if I need to. And unfortunately, I am experiencing problems. Like, he keeps coming at me, and not only he was saying he wants to be bi and stuff at one point, attracted to me, and then he was also like saying that he wants to do stuff with me like sexually and stuff, and I told him I am asexual. That's not happening. And I don't think he's getting the hint, so I'm going to have to be more blunt with him this week, being like, I'm not interested. No, I'm not attracted to you. Leave me alone. He is a very cool person. He just needs to work on himself. And right now, it doesn't sound like he is willing to do that. So I have a boundary up with him. And I told him that I never want to talk about anything sexual with him ever again. But now it sounds like I need to go back in and be like, yeah, I'm not interested in having any relationship with you besides being your coworker. And that's it. So that's kind of where I need to go with that. And I hope he gets the message. He seems like a decent human being, and like he could mean well, and he's just like innocent, harmless kind of thing is like the energy I get from him. But still, some of the stuff that he says just kind of like doesn't sit right with me. So yippee. After everything that I've said about like the female stuff, the more I watch myself change and become more masculine, the more I realize I never want to go back to being female. Never, never. Like, as long as I can still get access to my hormones and get it properly until I can get my uterus removed, because that's going to be the main factor of producing estrogen in my body. Well, the ovaries, not the uterus, but until I can get that removed, I need to stay on testosterone. And it's also slightly recommended that you stay on testosterone until you finish your full, like, puberty, basically. And so I'm not sure how long that will be. And I know after 2 years of being on testosterone, you are eligible to get your uterus removed. So we are coming up to year 1 with me right now. I still do look somewhat female, especially when my hair's down. Um, when I freshly shave the sides of my head and I put my hair up, I look more masculine, but when it grows in, I definitely look more feminine still, which kind of gives me my body dysphoria for sure and makes it uncomfortable. Um, and so it's a process for sure, and I'm trying to be more accepting of, like, people having the challenge of, like, understanding trans people. But right now, my company that I'm working at is not really open to the public quite yet. It is, like, kind of a seasonal job, as I previously have been at. And so there's not very many people there yet, so I haven't really been able to, like, see if I can make connections and make friends. I am very socially awkward. If you were to meet me in person, I'm not good at making conversations. You guys seeing me, like, talk endlessly on here is basically just me knowing I can shoot the shit whatever the heck I want and, like, say things that will potentially help you guys. In person, I am not this chatty. Like, I usually just kind of sit there in silence. Like, I am that awkward. And then, like, sometimes I also don't get a lot of jokes and I'm a little slow when it comes to that, but, like, once I learn certain jokes, I can sit there and laugh about them. I'm very much into, like, puns and stuff, so I like dad jokes and puns, so yeah, that's kind of my humor. But it's kind of awkward when you're first meeting people. It takes me, like, at least 3 months to be able to get comfortable with a human, so yeah, it takes a bit. So I wanted also to clarify a little bit more for gender fluid mispronouncing. For me, it's a little bit more simple. Other people who are gender fluid, it can be a little bit more complicated because it can be from a day-to-day basis, it can be from an hour-to-hour basis, it can be from a minute-to-minute basis. So it can be very difficult for gender fluid people. It's I've never really actually met someone who goes from a minute-to-minute basis of changing their gender. Usually it's more like a day-to-day thing that I've met and people, and, like, that's how their experiences kind of go. Usually it's more like they wake up one day and then they're like, okay, say they have the same kind of haircut as I do. Today I feel more feminine or something, so I'm gonna leave my hair down, basically. Maybe I'll put some makeup on. I'll maybe wear a shirt that shows more curves or something. Sort of kind of something like that. Or today they wake up and they feel more masculine or something, and so they put their hair up and then they wear a big baggy shirt or something, they wear a baggy hoodie, they wear some sweats, they wear clunky shoes, kind of thing. And so that day they're more masculine. They could also wake up and be non-binary that day and stuff, and then they'll be like, okay, so I'm gonna go for something that a guy and a girl would probably wear. Also, people don't owe you the appearance that kind of goes with the pronouns either. Some people who do, it obviously will be easier, but the people that don't, they don't owe you the feminine aspects. Like, if they look masculine but they go by feminine pronouns, that's okay. We're allowed to have diversity. And even the other way around, if somebody looks feminine but wants to go by masculine pronouns, that should still be okay. Like, the kind of society that we're still living in, that's slowly starting to die off, where everybody's just like, we're going to assume your pronouns off of what you look like. Like, that's not okay. That's not what we should be doing. We should be trying to ask questions first and then show the respect and appreciation for them sharing and being open about sharing this information with you. So it should be more like, hi, how are you? What is your name? What are pronouns you go by? It's just kind of like a normal greeting thing is what it should approach to being. And or it could be like, hi, my name is blank, and then my pronouns are this, that, and the other thing. What are yours? What's your name? Kind of thing. And it should just become a normal dialogue between everybody, so that way we all feel respected and included, and we're not all just fit into the cookie cutter aspects of being like, oh, this is what everybody who's born like this specific way should be, and then everybody born this specific way should be this. There is allowed to be blurred lines, and we are allowed to make it complicated if we want to. And some people don't even go by she, her, or they, or they, or all the other non-binary pronouns. Some people like to also identify as an elf, or an alien, or like a toaster. I've never met someone who seriously identifies as a toaster. Maybe when they're like drunk, maybe they'll identify as a toaster, but that's about it. I haven't met somebody yet who is specifically identifying as a toaster. Nothing wrong with that. If they do, kudos to you. That is going to be very difficult to get people to address your pronouns, but I mean, in that case, my question to you, if you identify as a toaster, what kind of like pronouns would you use? In this case, would you use it? I don't know. I know that it, for a lot of people who are trans or non-binary, is a very insulting thing to say. So I don't recommend ever using it. My dad has used the word it for me a couple times, and I'm just like, okay, that's not cool. And he was like, yeah, but it covers all the bases. And I'm like, no, but that's really insulting to just call somebody an animate object. Just because somebody identifies differently doesn't make them a thing. They are still a person. They are still welcome to be a person. It's just a different type of person. Just because somebody's different doesn't mean that they are an object. That is not okay. That is the same thing with females. Like, you should not be objectifying them just because they have certain body parts. That is not okay. And I think that the way the schools have been when most of us have been growing up, where it's like, okay, women can't wear spaghetti strap chain tops, and especially if they have big boobs, they really can't. And it's like, no, they should be allowed to. You just need to teach the boys who are going to sit there and hit on her more discipline and to keep it in their fucking pants. That's what you should be teaching. Not to sit there and be like, oh, the girl needs to cover up. It's their fault because they have that certain anatomy. That's not their fault. They grew up and they kept that type of anatomy and they're happy with themselves. They should be able to show themselves off. I don't care if they're young. If they choose to do that, I think once you're a 14-year-old, if you are choosing your clothes and you choose to wear a spaghetti strap, yes, it could be provocative, and yes, it could be uncomfortable for teachers that are male or female who are gay or something like that. Just don't look. You know it's a fucking child. Don't look at them. It should be their choice to dress how they want. I mean, if you think about it, back in like the Roman times, a lot of people would just be walking around with loincloths on, or like having their tits literally out and having a loincloth. Like, yes, that is before certain types of clothing was made, but it was a lot more accepting of being like, oh, that's your anatomy? Okay, whatever, just cover up down there so then nobody has to like see that, or at least if you crouch down, you have something covering you. Like, it's just the way that we have come to expecting females to cater to men and their desires and their sexual arousals is not okay. You need to be teaching the guys to have discipline, to keep it in their pants, and to show respect. Like, if you have enough of a sex drive, go jerk off in the bathroom. Okay, cool. But, like, do something with it instead of sitting here, like, making people uncomfortable. Because of the fact that I don't want to be female, like, ever again, I am looking more into surgeries. I don't see myself getting a top surgery. If I do get a top surgery, I would use whatever skin comes from this for my genitalia that would be constructed down here. But again, I would have a hysterectomy done first, and then I would see, am I okay with keeping the anatomy I have, or do I want to proceed forward with removing this kind of stuff? I do find myself getting a lot more upset with having boobs a lot more recently, because I just want to have a flat chest and be able to have a normal white t-shirt look fine on me and look like I have a flat chest. But unfortunately, the lighter colors that I wear, the more it shows. So right now it doesn't really look like it, because this shirt's like made to be guys, and it's not really sitting on my top at the moment too much. I'm sure if I move around, you guys can possibly see a little bit here and there, but I am having a bit of dysphoria with my chest for sure. And then there's also a bit of like dysphoria that can develop as well when it comes to peeing, which is something that I've been reading more about when it comes to like a trans person from female to male, where you want to be able to stand to pee. And if you're in public and you go into the men's bathroom and there's no stalls, but there is urinals, where does that leave you? Like, now you can't go into the men's bathroom kind of thing. So it's like, what bathroom do I go in now? Because I'm starting to look too masculine for the female bathroom, but I still don't look masculine enough for the masculine bathroom. So I'm like, where do I go? And I guess at this point, I'm going to stick to non-binary bathrooms, where it's like a family bathroom or like literally a gender neutral. But there is laws that have been now passed that say it doesn't matter which bathroom you go into as long as you identify as whatever, which I know there makes a lot of like uncomfortable things for women. Again, like, you have the creepy men that are going to go in there, but as long as you don't go alone, you have friends and stuff with you, then you should be a bit more safe, obviously. But I know that there is like that kind of fear a lot with women and like this kind of acceptance of the trans community, because of the fact that they're like, what if it's not actually a guy who has transitioned into a woman and they just are going in there to be a fucking creep? I understand that kind of anxiety, and I can also relate to that a little bit myself, because being trans from me, female to male, makes it really hard too, because it's like, am I going to be safe if I go into the men's bathroom because of the anatomy I still have? And it's like, are the guys going to look at me weird? Am I going to be questioned to why I'm in there? Are they going to laugh at me because I can't pee in the urinal? This is all like common things that a trans man experiences for like thoughts. Like, am I going to be able to go in there and pull off actually looking like I'm a guy? And am I going to be accepted by the guys as a guy? And so if I don't pee in the urinal, are they gonna know because of this? And it's like one of those instances where you get high and you like walk by the cops or something and you're sitting there like, oh, he knows, he knows, he knows. It's like one of those kind of mindsets where you walk into the bathroom and you're just like, oh, they know I'm not actually cis male, but I'm in here and I'm trans, so I belong here. I don't belong in the female bathroom. Like, I feel uncomfortable going into the female bathroom now. Like, I walk in there and I'm like, I see nothing. Nope, I'm not making eye contact. And then I also fear, like, a woman asking me, like, why are you in here? And it's like, I have the same anatomy as you, but I'm trans and I'm still a guy. And then if they're not accepting of, like, trans people, they'll be like, oh, so you're just an ugly female, basically. And it's like, no. So, bathroom situation is kind of, like, weird. And so I also wanted to address, too, if you are having dysphoria with peeing, there is, like, certain things that you can buy, like a strap for around your legs that can hold, like, peeing penis onto you. And there is realistic ones that look, you can get them in multiple different colors. I will put the link for that in the description down below. I got myself one. It takes a bit to learn how to actually pee into it. And then it also, I will say, if you are like a full thrust peer, basically like you pee like fast and all at once, it's going to fill up quickly, and you're also going to need to learn how to pee slower, because these things pee slowly like a guy's penis would. So there's a disadvantage from using it. I still have not taken it out into public yet because I'm still trying to learn how to not pee too quickly so then it overflows. So my recommendation is, when you first get it, pee in the shower, which is kind of gross, but pee in the shower, and then once you start learning how to use it, you can switch over to not wearing any pants or underwear, but pee in the toilet to just make sure, maybe even put a towel beneath yourself so the cleanup would be a little bit easier. And then as you learn that, put on some underwear and see if you can manage to not like soak your underwear. And then as you learn a bit more, try on putting your pants on. And then obviously taking it out into public for the first time, you're going to be wearing this thing all day. So you're not going to be able to wipe. You're not going to be able to like do much easily in that sense. But I will admit, I wore it in public one day. I did not end up peeing out of it, but it was nice because I've been experiencing a lot more discharge, and so it was able to catch the discharge instead of letting it sit on my underwear, because I don't know why, but after like a day or so, the discharge can get like kind of crusty and it can get stuck in your pubes and get gross and stuff like that. So I get a lot of discharge, so I have to regularly change my underwear every day, and I mean, that's healthy. Sometimes I need to do it 2 times a day because the discharge is just like that. um Again, it is more so when I am supposedly supposed to get my period, and I think this past week was the time period when I was supposed to get it, so that explains why it was more so. But I just wanted to bring that kind of thing up just in case anybody is having some body dysphoria when it comes to peeing, if you're trans from female to male. So again, the link for the website if you want to get one yourself is down below. So then that circulates to my last struggle. And guess what it is, guys? The one thing that I really don't like. um, pharmacy. Pharmacy struggles again. So Walgreens, I went and I pressed my order in. I've been using their app. I've been trying to do it that way. I started off in the beginning of March. I needed to order some more needles and syringes, so that went fine. I went in, I got it, and I went home. And then the next week, I needed the next types of needles, so I had to go in again. And then when I first refilled all of this stuff, I had 2 refills for my testosterone on there. And I told them that I didn't need the next bottle yet, so then it ended up dropping down to 1 bottle that was on there. And I was kind of annoyed by that because I was like, I should have probably just got that when I first saw that it was there. And especially now, since uh, there's a back order on my specific type of testosterone right now. So this one is back ordered right now, and they're not going to be available until May. So the sad part is I really don't have a lot left of this, and I honestly don't even think I have enough for today. Like, there's literally just a droplet in there, and that's not enough to do a dose. So today, unfortunately, I'm going to be using my backup tea, which is the one that I get a reaction to. So we can cross our fingers and hope we don't, but I'm kind of backed against a wall right now, and I don't have the ability of getting my testosterone. I was offered by Planned Parenthood to meet with my doctor again and then try to get a different type, but I really don't want the gel and the patch. I'd get really bad, like, band-aid rashes and stuff like that, so I really don't want to have something sticky on me because I would get a rash. So that's my only other two options. And so I'm sitting here like, okay, great. And I know that they're not going to redo this type that I used to do because of the reactions that I had. So again, I'm kind of backed against the wall, and I really have to use my backup testosterone right now for probably about the next month, because that's how long I'm gonna have to wait until I can get the ethonate back. And this one, I think, I'm not sure what the exact name of it is, but I'm going to be using one of the ones that's already open. And these ones here are the ones that are going to expire sooner than later. So I'm trying to use that up first. Okay, this is cyplinate. So this is the type that my doctor knows that I shouldn't have. This is what the pharmacy at Walgreens was saying. They were like, oh yeah, we have cyplinate. We don't have ethylonate, and we can't get ethylonate until like a whole month later. And they were all kind of like saying that they were going to try to give that to me, and they were messaging my doctor about it. And then I messaged my doctors too, and they were like, yeah, so your only two options are the patch and like gel. And also the issue with the patch and the gel is the dosage will not be as strong. So this is why I went for injections originally, because I want to work my way through this puberty as quickly as I possibly can, because one puberty was traumatizing. This one's not as traumatizing, but I still want to work through it as quickly as I can. So for the next month, I really hope that my body can manage to get through being able to take the cyplinate. I know when I was administering the injection to myself originally, I was not putting the needle fully all the way in, and I also got the same reactions from the ethylonate as the cyplinate when I first started, or after the first 2 weeks of having the ethylonate. The only issue though that I would say with this one is the way that they preserve it. It actually, in your body, the stuff that it is preserved in can turn testosterone back into estrogen. So I'm a little bit uneasy about using this, but again, out of the other options that I have, I really don't like any of them. I don't like any of the options I'm stuck with right now. So I'm gonna try this for maybe a week or two. If it's going well and I have no reactions and stuff, I'll let my doctor know that I still had some of this left over. It wasn't expired. I'm going to continue using this until the ethylonate is available again. And they told me that I need to call around to the other pharmacies and stuff, but the Walgreens pharmacy told me that they already had been doing that. So it's like, again, I had no other options, because everywhere right now that's nearby me, the ethylonate is back ordered. So if I was smart and I listened to myself originally when I had the 2 dosages available to get back in the beginning of March, I should have gotten it and I would have been set and fine. Normally, I'm pretty good at thinking it through, but this is also good to document too. I was feeling, because of the fact that this is a normal thing that a lot of trans people deal with. Our prescriptions get back ordered all the fucking time. We usually need to keep some sort of backstock because there is always going to be something fuckery happening with this. And it pisses me off because we all have to go through this. And it's like, the pharmacies are in it for making money and trying to keep as many people on prescriptions. Here I am being on a prescription, and it's something that's now very important to me. And they're just like, nah, fuck you, basically. And I mean, it's not fully their fault because back order, it's a back order. You can't really do much about back orders. But it's still like, come on, what the fuck? You should have enough stuff, and you should know when my need for these prescriptions are coming up. So it's like, what the fuck, guys, come on. So we are going to try this one out today. I'm going to warm it up in my hands, doing the little warm-up process, and I actually did not bring my syringes and needles up, so I'm going to have to take a little break and go grab that, so I will be right back. I also need to check to see how much is left in this specific bottle, because this one was open previously, so I need to make sure that... And I just ripped the date apart. It's 3/25. That's how long I have to use this, which I'm probably going to use the rest of what's in this one specifically today, maybe, depending on how much is in here, which I can't really see with all the sticky stuff. Alright, so there's like this much in here, but this is a small bottle, so that might be like 1 dose worth of it. There is one more that's in this. This is what I was calling originally the green tea. Sounds like some sort of herbal drink you're drinking. But this is the green tea. This is the one that I had the least amount of reactions to. I think it was the red tea that gave me the most, and well, no, blue tea actually gave me the most. That one's the one that I'll have to use for backup after these ones, because those ones expire after this one does. I think it's 2026 when those ones expire. This one's 2025, so this one's going to expire next year. Literally a year from pretty much today, they'll expire. So in some ways, it's kind of good that I do need to, like, use these, because then at least I'm using them before they expire. But in the future, if I see that I have 2 refills on my testosterone and it's available to be refilled in that moment, and I'm getting my needles right then, I'm gonna probably get it, because I don't need to be going through this kind of stress again. It's very annoying, it's very frustrating, and I did get angry. I did not yell or get angry at any of the pharmacy. It was more of like a at-home kind of anger, being like, what the fuck do I do kind of thing. So it's like, yeah. But we're gonna try this out. I hope it goes well. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab my needle and syringes. Alright. Got 2 Q-tips. Got me alcohol. Rubbing alcohol. And I think in the last one I mentioned that I was like kind of having like the nerves react whenever I was doing like injections. It seems that it's kind of like petered off, not really doing that too much anymore. So whatever it was only like a small period of time that was happening. I'll still bring it up to my doctor when I do meet with her to have like her to refill my stuff. But we'll see how this goes. Alright, how much we got left? Probably enough for one more dose, maybe? Yeah, it's like that much, so there's enough for like one more dose in there. Alright, so here we go with a different chemistry, going back to the original one that I had. But I'm gonna make sure I insert it all the way. Maybe I don't have issues with it. I might not, because it just being inserted into the surface layer of our skin is not what you should be doing. Alright. These pants I can pull up. So you get to stare at my hairy leg today. Assuming that my leg wants the injection today, because my leg was a little temperamental like the past couple weeks with getting an injection. So I actually did my belly once this past month, and I was like, oh, okay, all right. Alright, so reason why when you're filling up the head of your needle, you don't want to get it all the way down the needle that you're going to be inserting into yourself, because when you're inserting it, it can actually cause some pain. So you want to wipe off your needle and have it as clean as possible, with obviously it having the stuff that you have inside of it and ready to go, but you don't want it down the needle itself because it could cause pain when you're putting it in. So just so you know, that was something I learned this past month when I was doing that as well. My leg is very soft and smooth today. Okay, apparently I'm not meant to give an injection there because I can't even grab the skin. There we go. Nope, still, my skin is too... Okay, I just need to moisturize my fingers. Okay. Didn't have any issues with it. It was just a little uncomfortable putting the needle in, as always. Okay, now it's burning a little bit, which I think was a common factor I used to have with it before, because that sounds like a familiar thing that I said, it burning. It's not bleeding yet, which I did an injection up here last week, and my goodness, I got a lot of blood out of that one. So I guess it's just the location of where you do it, but I just knocked everything over in this. I'm gonna let that kind of chillax for a second. There's the blood. Yay. This is the side that had it. I mean, if it's only a month where I have to deal with the swelling and the itchiness, as long as it just doesn't keep getting worse and worse and it's manageable, then I'll deal with it. As shitty as that sounds, I much rather do injections than have a patch or gel. So I'll kind of let it sit for a second. But happy I got this done today. Happy Easter to everybody who celebrates it, and happy Ostara to all my witches. And I'm not sure, I don't think, well, happy spring to everybody who doesn't celebrate either of those. and anybody who also does. Excuse me. All right, I think that is good. All right, guys. Thank you for watching 10 months of tea and listening to my struggles about other things. And I hope you guys are a little bit more mindful about things that are going on. Also, I wanted to slightly mention it as well. Again, going back to the question for am I trans because of the way the political system is? No, it's still my answer. But I also wanted to mention that, like, with the way the country's going and the way that, like, people are not very accepting of trans people, like, trans people are risking going into concentration camps for being the way that they are. So, versus what the females have for their risk, it would just be, like, forced into marriages and then, like, forced to live at home and be a housewife again, kind of thing, versus trans people all going into a concentration camp and basically being whipped and killed. So tell me which one is the better of the two evils. Neither one. They're both equally terrible, especially if you're not the type that wants to be a housewife. So yeah. I mean, one's more likely. I mean, neither one is better than the other, because even if you get like a specific type of husband, you still risk having the same kind of thing that the trans people at the concentration camp have going on at home with your husband. So yeah, super great. Not the best world we're living in right now, but at least all the problems are surfacing so they can be solved, I hope, eventually. And I hope everybody's doing okay with the silent depression that we're all kind of living through right now. So, yippee. And thank you guys again for watching 10 Months of Tea. This one was a little bit of a heavy one for sure. And I'll have more updates and stuff. And if you guys want to check out my description down below to find the link for getting something that'll help a little bit with your body dysphoria if you are also trans and you're watching this and looking for some sort of like link or something that you can get to help yourself out as well. There is also a community that sends like binders to trans people who can't afford it. There is a waiting list for it because it's a very long and extensive, and it's not guaranteed you'll get the binder that you specifically want. They try to aim for you to have the style at least that you want. I have one. I put it around here somewhere, but it's white and it has like some pattern that I'm not a fan of, so I don't really wear it that often, even though it's like under my clothes. I do wear it every once in a while just because, yeah, having a chest that protrudes more than your belly is a little uncomfortable. Unless it was like muscle packs, that would be more nice, not boobs. Yeah, but thank you guys for watching. If you guys want to look me up on Instagram, I'm on there doing like some modeling and stuff here and there. And then I've had a couple other places trying to like collab. Be careful with that because some of them are scams, and I had one of the accounts like delete its account after I submitted like a $30 order or something to them, which $30 is okay, I guess. I mean, that's like almost a tank of gas for me, but still kind of annoyed about it because, I mean, I wish I knew better, but now I know better. And just be careful, guys, if you're going to start doing modeling. There's a lot of scam companies out there, and most of the time they won't pay you either. So try to look for it on a website that's trusted. Don't really go for the Instagram weird people that are just like paid collab. They're never going to pay you. So find me on Snapchat if you want. Snapchat is Lincoln Park 8. I'm always posting on there usually, except for a little bit this month because I was depressed and missing my mom. So yeah. And yeah, so if you guys also want to check out my podcast too to see the bullshit that I've lived through, working on and growing through, season 2 is coming up. I know I did a couple episodes on there already that should have possibly been on season 2, but they didn't really make the mark for season 2, so we're gonna be starting season 2 soon. And yeah, so if you guys are looking forward to that, give it a check out, listening to it. It's about as long as these videos on here too are, so love you guys. Look forward to orange video and my cooking video, so look for those two, and I hope you guys have a great day, nighttime, whatever you're listening to this, watching this at, and I hope you have great month. See you for 11. Bye.